Hey, so I seen this meme the other day that said cats can ask a girl places she likes to go and things she likes to do, and never do any of those things. And it's funny because that's true nowadays, where a man can basically initiate conversation with a woman by asking her things she likes to do and things like that. And they'll have a relationship for 2 or 3 years, and they'll never do any of those things that she says she likes to do. They'll never go any of those places she says she likes to go. And part of it is because of the man himself isn't really interested in what she thinks or what she says. He just wants her because he's attracted to her. But a lot of this can be alleviated if the woman herself demanded and required more from the man. So, and what I mean by that, I don't mean require him to take you on trips and things like that, but I mean require him to care more about you. So, for example, if a man told you when he meets you that, oh yeah, I open doors for women and I do things for women, but when you're together, he doesn't do these things, then he's not going to do them if you don't require him to do them. You know, I know a lot of people don't like Steve Harvey, but a lot of what he put in his book and things like that about men opening doors and not having sex for 3 months is actually decent ideology, because then you can find out what type of man you're really dealing with. If you have a man that doesn't want to do the things that you want to do, or doesn't try to do the things you want to do rather, then you should require him. You should demand him to start doing some of the things. And if he really is interested in you as a person, if he really wants to be with you, he really cares about you, then I guarantee you that man is going to do those things that you require. That man is going to do the things that you demand, not because you demanded him, not because you required him, because he cares about you. Any person in this world who cares about another person is going to do things that make that person happy. They're going to do things that appease that person because they love that person and they care about that person. If you don't require him, you don't demand him, or if you do require him, you do demand him, but he doesn't do them, then he doesn't care about you. And a lot of times women don't understand that, they hold the relationship in their hands, basically. And I'm not saying that to tell women to go ahead and control the man. You don't want to control him. You want to get him to do things that you like to do. You want to get him to do things that you need him to do as the man. So if you're in a relationship with the man and he's not doing things you want to do, he only wants to do things he wants to do, or he doesn't do things he said he did in the beginning, or things like that. If you demand these things and you require these things, if he really cares about you, those things will happen. Anytime a woman doesn't demand or require things from her man, that man is going to do the things he wants to do because he doesn't have to do what you want him to do. You don't require him to do it, so he doesn't have to do it, and he's going to continue being that way. If a man cheats on you and you still take him back, that means you don't demand him to be faithful to you. You don't demand him to be faithful to you, meaning he doesn't have to be faithful to you, because it's not a stipulation for your relationship. It's not a requirement for your relationship. He can go out and have sex with this woman and that woman, get this woman and that woman pregnant, because you don't require it, because you don't demand him to be faithful to you. When you start demanding him to do these things for you, he will change. He will do things. If he loves you, he will do these things that you demand. And again, I'm not talking about demand him to go and buy you a purse. I'm talking about demand him to be a man. Require him to be a man. Require him to step up. Make him do the things that he needs to do. I look at it like this. The majority of men these days that go out and get these cars, these flashy things, they put the rims on them and things like that, they don't always do them because they like them. I mean, they like this stuff, but they're doing it to attract a woman, period. They're doing it to attract a woman that likes those kinds of things. And if that woman only likes those kinds of things, that man doesn't have to become more than that car. He doesn't have to become more than those pair of shoes that he gets to attract you, because you don't require it. I mean, it's cool to attract someone off of that, but when you meet him, if you don't demand him to have more, then he won't have more. He won't do more. If you meet a guy, if you're in college and you meet a guy, and in college he fills you with this dream of who he wants to be, if halfway through college he stops fulfilling any of those dreams and promises and drops out of college, and you stay with him and you never demand him to finish living out those dreams and things like that, he's not going to, because he probably didn't want to do them in the first place. He just did it because he got you where he wanted you, And then now he doesn't have to do anything else. You don't demand him to live up to his potential. You don't demand him to live up to your expectations. It's not a part of who he is, because it's not who he really wanted to be. He saw you, he got you, and you don't require him to be anything more than what he was. Then why would he become better? Like I said, most guys get things because they want to attract women. But if a woman demanded a man to have a college education, if she demanded a man to take care of his children, if she demanded a man to do all these things, to open the door for him, to buy her flowers and things like that, if that man really cared about her, he's going to do those things. If that man really wanted to be with her, he's going to accomplish everything it is that he set out to do in the first place when they first met. He's going to reach those things he told her, those dreams he sold her. Those things are going to become a reality because he cares about her, and she demands that those things happen. If the woman sits there and she lets the man do whatever he wants, and she never tells him, look, if you don't do this or you don't do that, and she means it, he's not going to change. He's going to stay exactly where he's at. He's going to do the things he wants because you don't require it. You don't demand it. When you start demanding things from him and making him do the things it is that he needs to do as a man, that's when he'll become a man. When you date guys who only care about what kind of shoes they got on, what kind of belt they wearing, and things like that, and you don't demand them to become more than that, they won't. If you require them to fulfill, their potential, if you require them to be the man that they should be for you, that's when they'll become the man that you want them to be, or you need them to be for you and your family. Until you do, that man is going to stay the same bum he was when you met him, and he's not going to be anything more than that. I'm pretty sure when Michelle Obama met Barack Obama, he wasn't Barack Obama that we know him as when they met. He might have had demons in his closet that we don't know about. But I guarantee you, over time, she demanded him to do the things that she needed him to do. She demanded him, she required of him more things. She had expectations of him. And because of those things, that's probably one of the reasons why he became president. I mean, you got to think, black man as a president, the woman that he was with is probably the reason he became president. He probably would have been a good senator had he not met Michelle, but with Michelle, because Michelle and how Michelle handled him is probably the reason he became president. The things that she demanded, required, and expected of him allowed him to become the first African-American president of the United States of America, not because that's necessarily what he even wanted to do. All I'm saying, women, is that when you meet a man, when you date a man, expect more from that man. Don't let that man, and I'm not saying go and find you somebody that you think is going to be Barack Obama when you meet him. You ain't going to find Barack Obama when you meet him in your 20s. Barack Obama in his 20s wasn't Barack Obama that we knew him as the 44th president of the United States of America. You're not going to do that. But I'm saying when you find a man, if he's really willing to do the things you require and the things you demand, that's the man that you need to be with. If he's not, let that dude go.